Hello, my name is Nicole Solis, and I'm going to be talking about my digital history project, the Separate Baptist in Colonial Virginia. This is for my digital history class in the fall of 2025 at Liberty University. Thanks. My subject is going to be the Separate Baptists, and I will be focusing on their origin, what brought them to Virginia, and what was their connection to an Anglican like James Madison. The reason why I'm focusing on Madison specifically is that I'm writing a spiritual biography for my dissertation on James Madison. And I was especially interested in how he focused a lot on the Separate Baptists when he spoke of religious freedom and developed the First Amendment. So I guess that's just kind of like something that I feel like needs to be looked into further. My purpose specifically for this project is that I want to show that connection to James Madison and maybe even a closer connection than my master's thesis may have done, and also shed some light on the severity of the persecution directed towards the separate Baptist community in Virginia. This will ultimately help people understand Madison's convictions better when he fervently fought for religious freedom. I feel like the separate Baptists are almost like this marginalized group that didn't really get a lot of notice or attention. Like you don't see about, the persecution that they faced in the local media during that time period. You don't see anyone really writing or talking about it, with the exception of someone like Madison. So it seems interesting considering the amount um, of separate Baptists that were integrating into society, into Virginian society at the time. Now, as I said before, I feel as if these separate Baptists are a marginalized group. And I hope that this project will highlight the little known persecution of this group in colonial America and provide some insight as to why some Christians in early America were fighting for freedom to practice diverse Christian beliefs. Now, this is not to downgrade or push aside any other groups that had been marginalized. For example, the African slaves, women, Native Americans. I just want to bring a closer understanding of the goals of our founding documents. My first main key takeaway that I would want people to understand by the time they get done with my project is that Christianity was highly significant when establishing our American government. A lot of people try to downplay it. They try to say, well, there was a separation and that they didn't want Christianity in there. And honestly, I think it was extremely integrated into our foundation. The other takeaway would be that the separate Baptist persecution in particular played a significant role in establishing the First Amendment and other religious state mandates, mainly because of Madison and his desire to bring this persecution into the light. The third takeaway that I have is that separation of church and state was not created to separate church from government. It was to protect the church from governmental interference. And I think that's where a lot of people misunderstand this quote unquote wall of separation. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you take a minute to click on the link and follow along with the story of the Separate Baptist in Virginia. It begins with a timeline detailing the colonial persecution of Separatist Baptists. In the early stages of James Madison's life, the Separate Baptists of Virginia were experiencing religious persecution for defying the Anglican establishment. These were not isolated occurrences. Punishments spanned over 100 years, ranging from fines and jail time to beatings and whippings. The story then moves on to a story map, which details the travel of the separate Baptists from New England all the way down into Virginia, and also hints at their westward movement into Kentucky as well, leading into the Second Great Awakening. So I hope you enjoy, and I am excited to hear some of your insights and maybe some help to really make these points and goals drive home. Thank you so much.